If you're feeling stressed out right now and you are looking for some quick ways to feel peaceful and at ease without you having to do downward dog yoga poses or meditate or journal for the next half hour, here's 3 strategies that you can use that will help you feel more peaceful and at ease, that you can use for yourself, or you can use if you are a practitioner in a coaching business or a therapy practice that can help your clients to feel more at ease right now. The first one is a simple technique where you use the word but, B-U-T, right? So I'm feeling really stressed out because of this situation, but at least I'm still me. And I know that I have a powerful creative brain, and I know that I'm going to find a solution to this problem. I'm really stressed out because I got this bill and I wasn't expecting this bill, and now I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay for it, but I still have the ability to ask for help, to reach out for other resources. I've got this thing called a smartphone, which gives me access to the whole world. And I know that if I figure out a way to make this happen and I keep focusing on what I want, I will find a way through this. So when you use the word but, it does 2 things. First, in the science of influence, whenever you say something and then you say the word but after it, it kind of cancels out the first thing you said. Right? So if you say, you did a really great job on this project, but then all of a sudden they didn't hear the compliment. All they hear is what's coming next. Here comes the criticism. What if we use that in a positive way, right? In a useful way. So I know I'm feeling this stress-filled situation, but, right, what if we cancel that out and we focus on the opportunity that's always inside of one of those situations? You might be like, well, Tim, what kind of opportunity is it if I feel like I can't pay my bills? Well, the opportunity is then you have to find a new way to increase your income that you don't know right now. And through that journey of figuring it out, you build more wisdom, you gain more knowledge, you gain more resources so that you feel confident knowing that if you're ever in that situation again, you're going to be okay because of who you've become. Right? It's not just trying to figure out how to get the next bill paid. It's how to feel secure knowing that you are developing financial mastery. So, or Tim, what's so great about me getting a flat tire? Well, now you are checking your level of patience and your level of connection with God. Are you thanking God for the things that go wrong as well as the things that go right? Because that's what real faith is. It's easy to say, hey, thanks, and show gratitude when things are going well. But when things are not going well and you're feeling stressed out, are you able to step into your faith then? Are you able to say, thank you for the victories and the messes in my life? Because I believe both of those are allowing me to create a stronger faith in God and a stronger faith in myself. So try that out, see how it works. Let me know in the comments what you come up with. The second thing, especially if you're kinesthetic or you're working with someone who's kinesthetic, a feeler, someone who has a hard time articulating what they're really feeling, but they're trying to show you. They'll say it just feels like, or it just feels like my heart is going out and then coming back, or it just feels like, I can't put it into words. And you'll see their eyes. They're like, a derivational search, right? They're going back and forth, trying to create pictures and images and talk to themselves to try to articulate this feeling that they have. But a lot of time, feelers spend a lot of time looking down, right? This way, because they're feeling things and talking to themselves and feeling things. And that's someone who is primarily more kinesthetic, right? Someone who responds primarily by how they feel about life. And they use all of their senses, but if you need a good resource on how to figure out if someone is primarily visual or auditory or kinesthetic, then neurolinguistic programming training videos are a good resource for that, or just search through my channel. I'm sure I've made one on this as well. All right, so if they are kinesthetic, then they need a feeling type of response to just kind of get back into center. Because remember, what is stress? Stress is really code for fear. When we fear that something bad's going to happen, or that we're not going to be prepared, or we're not going to be able to handle it, then we create all these feelings. We call it pressure, overwhelm, anger, frustration. We have all these terms, but it really boils down to fear. And so we got to stop the fear response and shift into a faith response, shift into a feeling of control where we're focusing on what we want, the outcomes we desire, and those opportunities that are within these challenging situations. Most people aren't doing that when they're stressed out. They're focused on what's going wrong, worst case scenarios, and what's horrible about the situation. You're responding to your narration of the event, not the event itself, right? So whatever you're telling yourself, that's what you're responding to. And those words that you're using to describe and narrate your situation is coming from the deep unconscious beliefs that are driving those thoughts. So if you have a core belief that you're always going to be okay and things are always going to work out for you in the end, then this is just one more situation that's going to work out for you. If you have a deep core belief that you're not good enough and the world is a terrible place and you can't trust anybody and things never go your way, then you're going to have that kind of experience, or at least emotionally respond in that kind of way. Remember, most of the things that we worry about never even happen. So it's just a misuse of imagination, constantly worrying about worst case scenarios. So if you're working with someone that, or you're feeling that emotional response, one of the things you can do is you can take your thumb and your middle finger and touch them together. You've probably seen people meditating. The reason you do this is because you can feel your heartbeat best in your thumb and middle finger. And when you touch your thumb and your middle finger, your fiddle minger, when you touch your thumb and your middle finger, you can feel your heartbeat, right? Hopefully you can feel your heartbeat. If not, go to the doctor really soon. So humor is another way to manage stress, even bad jokes like mine. So you touch your thumb and finger together, then you start breathing through your nose. And focus on the feeling of your heartbeat. And if you get quiet and you slow down enough through using your power breathing, where you breathe in through your nose, down to your belly, then you slowly exhale. When you do that 5 times in a row, it activates your relaxation response, your body's natural calming effect, the system inside of you that allows you to slow down and get more focused, be more present. When we're in anxiety and stress, we speed up and we're all over the place. So this is a way of focusing our energy. So use your breathing to slow down, and then you start feeling your heartbeat. And when you remember that your heart is beating, you remember that everything's going to be okay. As long as your heart is beating, that means you're still here, you're still a creative force, you're still going to figure things out, you still have the ability to make things happen. And that in itself, is better than the alternative. And of course, the alternative is not having a heartbeat, which means that you're not playing in this game anymore. And so just slowing down, feeling your heartbeat, and reminding yourself that I got this, I'm safe, everything's going to be okay. And then it helps you to focus on, all right, now what is the end result? What do I want to have happen? What would make me feel better? If I had a little boy or a little girl next to me and they were freaking out about the same thing, what would I say to them to help them feel better? And then simply say that to yourself. So using the heartbeat technique helps you to slow down and breathe and feel more at ease. So you get a grip on the situation. Third thing that you can do is you can look up, take a power breath, because when you look up, it quiets the voice in your head. Instead of changing the story, what if we just got that voice quiet for a little bit? A lot of times people say, I just can't turn the voice off. I just can't stop thinking. Yeah, you can actually. If you look up and you breathe through your nose, and you do that for about 20 to 30 seconds, you will slip into a feeling of neutral. In fact, a lot of times I just challenge people. I might look up and try to get stressed about something. And it's very difficult to do. Most people are like, because they just can't connect with the feeling that they're used to having. Now, some people are like, yeah, I can do it. Well, that's because you practice all the time and you just got good at stressing yourself out, and probably everybody else. If you want to shift that around, then you can look up and breathe. And then the next thing you do is you ask yourself, what do I want to have happen? Would it be okay if a blessing came from this? And then you start focusing on what would that blessing be? When we're so stressed out and stressed up and we're caught up in the moment, we often forget what it is that we want to have happen because we're consumed with what we're afraid of. And I call that playing not to lose, where you're constantly afraid of getting hurt, being rejected, losing, being abandoned, something horrible happening to you, probably because you've had experiences like that before. So it's caused your brain to go on high alert, and now you're constantly waiting for the next bad thing to happen. When I was 12 years old, my dad was blown up in a big fire at a steel mill where he worked. And I was the one that answered the call. Ring, ring, hello, honey, get your mom. My mom's not here. Well, we need to find somebody. There's been an accident. And you don't want to call like that, when you're a little kid and your dad works at a steel mill. And so all at once, my whole life was yanked out from underneath me. So my brain formed a belief that something bad could happen at any moment and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, of course, when you have a belief like that, it makes you prone to anxiety. It makes you feel like there's a fire alarm in your brain and it goes off all the time, even when everything seems fine, right? It's like you know, your fire detector, your smoke detectors that you have in the house, and the battery, backup battery, decides to only go out in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden you start hearing beep, beep at like 4 in the morning, and then you're walking around the house trying to figure out where the beep is. If you've ever had that experience, you know how annoying it is. Well, that's what happens inside of our brain, right? All of a sudden we just feel this beep, beep, like something bad's going to happen, and we're just constantly going through life, kind of holding our breath, just bracing up, worrying for that next bad thing to happen. So what we've got to do is we've got to upgrade those beliefs. I had to get into my mind, and I had hypnotherapists help me with this, to get into my brain and teach me that I was safe. My dad actually survived that horrific experience. He ended up having scars on his body, but he was the first guy to take his shirt off in the middle of the summer and go swimming, which I thought was amazing, right? My parents ended up getting divorced, but he remarried, and he thought he had a belief that no one would ever love him again because of his scars, and yet he got remarried again and was very happy. And so that, you know, you got to remember the good stuff that comes from it. And so I had to remember that, hey, there was a happy ending for my dad many times, where he ended up feeling more peaceful and at ease. And that could give me a new belief that everything works out in the end. If it hasn't worked out yet, it just means it isn't the end. Now imagine having this belief that everything ends up working out okay. And if you believe that, your brain will create positive, self-fulfilling prophecies. Your mind will start to believe that, yeah, that's true for me too. Your mind will start to believe that it's going to be okay. I don't know how it's going to be okay, but it's going to be okay. And if you have a belief that you're not going to be okay, then no matter what anybody tells you, you're going to be fine. You're loved. You're safe. You're in your brain going, nope, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And it's based on those unconscious beliefs. So if you really want to manage stress effectively, you got to get in there and upgrade those unconscious beliefs. In the meantime, you can use these techniques. So whatever's going on, think to yourself, yeah, but, and then look at the silver lining in that situation. The sun is always shining, even on the cloudiest, darkest day. You can't see the sun, but it's still there, right? And the rain makes the flowers and the trees grow more beautiful. And so you can use the but technique. You can touch your thumb and finger together and remind yourself that, hey, if I'm still here, I'm still in the game, and then I can start playing to win. And then, of course, you can look up, you can start breathing through your nose, activate your relaxation response, get your mind more quiet, and then focus on, what do I want to have happen, so that you get used to clarifying what it is that you actually want. Most of us are going too fast and focused on what we're afraid of, instead of slowing down and focusing on our faith and what we want, so we can move towards it. Remember, what you think about comes about, and whatever you think about most of the time, your life becomes that. And finally, remember that you're just one belief away from your next big breakthrough. So leave the comments below about what's happened with you trying these different techniques, if it worked for you, if it didn't work for you. We've got dozens of techniques and tools that will show you how to use the power of your mind to create your life by design. Talk to you soon.